Please be seated. You know, sometimes we have an idea in our head that saints were perfect. We're so holy that we cannot even begin to think of becoming a saint. But that song, the hymn we sang for the graduate, we sing a song of the saints of God, that's about us too. That was a term that Paul used in the days of the early church to address saints. That means those who follow God's way. So I can't think of a better person to come up here during the sermon time as Tony Milner, the Executive Director of Family Promise. He and his people work with him are saints because they deal with a problem in an active way. And they deal with saints who come with them who are fallen for whatever reason and find their way again. So this is an important day for Tony to come here. So please, Tony, come up.
Good morning. That's a nice introduction. So again, my name is Tony Milner. First of all, thank you so much for letting me have the opportunity to come and worship with you this morning. First and foremost, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the opportunity and the time just to tell you a little bit more about Family Promise, which is going to be a new ministry here at St. Stephen's. The leadership met a while ago and decided to vote to bring in Family Promise as a new ministry here at the church. And so I want to tell you a little about Family Promise, kind of who we are, some of the details of it, but then also mainly why we're doing this, why Family Promise in particular. So again, just thank you for your attention, and thank you again to the leadership for welcoming in Family Promise and soon to be the guest families of Family Promise. So basically, and another thing too, which is kind of funny, so Mary and I have been kind of talking back and forth, and we thought, well, this is a big thing, we're going to, maybe I can come and kind of speak and maybe make sure that everyone is fully aware of what's going on and can answer questions. But then later on down the road, we're going to be doing the hosting week. So the hosting week are set until 2016. So all the way in June 2016 will be the first time that the Family Promise program is going to come. And so we kind of thought and talked, and it's like, well, I'd like to get some media for that, and try to get a lot of people here, and kind of maybe get someone special to come and bless the space. And so then Mary basically got Bishop Hayashi already scheduled to come on that day on June 5th to come here, and so he can bless the space and make it a sacred space for the families before they come and receive hospitality. And then I wrote back to her in the email and said, man, you Episcopals work fast. That's true. So now let me tell you a little bit about Family Promise. It's a national organization. There's 190 affiliates across the country. We're just one affiliate of those 190 affiliates. The organization's been around for the past 26 years. We've been here in Salt Lake for the past 20 years. And it works on a very simple, basic model. It's a community-based, grassroots model to have hands-on experience and hands-on help to the homeless families. It's that simple. The person who founded it 26 years ago, she basically saw that family homelessness was on the rise, and she thought to herself in her own community, what can we do as a community to help this issue? This important issue of children sleeping in their cars, sleeping on the streets or in abandoned buildings. What can we do about this as a community? And she was very surprised, horribly, that there wasn't time, there wasn't energy, there wasn't attention. Nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted to put money into it. Nobody wanted to clear zoning, not in my backyard. Tight mentality, and so she wrestled with it. She joined a couple different planning committees, and she went all the way up to talk to the governor of New Jersey at the time. And we're talking about children, homeless children. We need our help. What can we do? And nothing positive came through. So she basically looked back at her home church, a Methodist church, and basically realized the fact that they were used to having temporary overnight activities. There would be a visiting choir that would come through, there would be a youth lock-in, there would be a mission team that would come through and stay in town for a week doing service projects, and so the sister congregation would turn their space temporarily into bedrooms for them. Sometimes they even put in showers and laundry because of these visitors who would come through. And so she thought, we're already doing this for other ministries, let's do this for homeless families. So that was the very first Family Promise that got started. One church doesn't do it full-time, because then otherwise they would be a full-time shelter. So she reached out to her neighbors to basically say, her interfaith neighbors to say, will you help with this new project? And that way it will be interfaith model. So we're interfaith, non-proselytizing. It's a way for us to be people of faith, to actually act out our faith, to put our faith into practice. We're all told all of our collective tenets, no matter what our religious backgrounds are, is to be of service to the poor, to open up our doors and welcome in the stranger. That is family promise. It's that simple. So that's why I'm so happy that St. Stephen's has decided to welcome in not just the Family Promise program, but the Family Promise guest families. So that's our model. A little bit of details about us. We only serve 4 families at a time, so that when the families do come here for a week of temporary hospitality, just 4 families, so that way we're not overwhelming the church. The families leave during business day, business hours, Monday through Friday. They drive in their own vehicles, we have a van that picks them up. So that way we're not interrupting the church business that's going on. So basically the families are just here evenings, overnights, weekends. It's all staffed by volunteers, and so we'll do volunteer training for that as well. So our organization is heavily leveraged by volunteer support from the churches that we receive. Basically the fixed cost of buildings and the staffing through volunteers. The families that we're serving, we do because we are using church space and because we are using volunteers, we do a screening process. Most importantly, we do drug screening for the families. And so unfortunately, they need to be able to pass a drug screen. If not, then we refer them to other agencies that are very equipped to handle them in this situation. So the families coming to us have been screened, first and foremost, drugs and alcohol, but a list of other things too. So we want to make sure that it's a good, safe environment for everyone. Sometimes I kind of get the question of, so what's the main difference between Family Promise and then the other shelters, the downtown shelters? One, we're not downtown. We use area churches throughout the community. One, but then 2, we like to be an alternative to the downtown shelters. For families who are the first time experiencing homelessness and they drive to the downtown shelters, that's a scary situation. Just by nature, we're quieter, safer, smaller, more supportive, friendlier. For families experiencing with little kids, we just love that we just be a different alternative, another option for families facing homelessness, so then that way they have that as an option. The need is large. Is there a need for homeless families? What is the numbers of homeless families? Right now, the census for 2015 puts it at basically 6,000 individuals in families will experience homelessness here in the state of Utah. Families are the fastest growing number of homelessness. 42% of all homelessness is families, which is mainly children. So that's the state, that's their census, but at the same time, the school districts keep track of all what are considered to be homeless school children. And they put it at, there's been an increase from last year to this year at 13% of an increase for school-age children experiencing homelessness. Yes, the need is out there. Yes, homelessness is very much in the news right now, too, because of the situation with the downtown shelters. They're overloaded, they're overwhelmed. And so a lot of the different partners and agencies and business people, for-profit, non-profit, and government are trying to come together to say, what can we do about this? And so we always love to be in the room basically saying, we represent the faith community. The faith community has so much tremendous power and energy and desire to help out homeless families. And we're doing our part as best as we can. So I love being in the room representing the faith community for that purpose. Again, the biggest thing too I want to make sure you're aware of is that we're more than just a shelter. That's what we tell our guests that come into us as well, is that we're a program. Yes, you can come in and you need a place to stay, you need some food, but what are you going to do if you're coming into our program? It's a program. You have to spend every night in the program. You have to do case management. You have to follow the guidelines, follow the rules. Even though it's staffed by volunteers in the evening, there's always staff who are on call 24 hours in case anything kind of comes up. But then we basically tell the families, we're going to be drug testing. We want you to get a job. We want you to get into an apartment as soon as possible. You have to work with us to improve your situation as best as possible. Is this program for you? Every once in a while, a family says no. They say the rules, the guidelines, the goal is not for them. We bless and release them. But the families who are with us work hard. The fact that they're actually staying in churches. Can you imagine sleeping in a church with your whole family in one room, living out of a suitcase, having to attend dinner, curfew at 9 o'clock, leaving the church during the day, doing case management while you're trying to get yourself to and from work and kids to and from school. I'm always making sure that I tell the families too, that I'm touching base with them, saying that I know you're in a crisis situation, but just thank you so much for being a good guest, for being in our program, for choosing to be in our program, and to trying to do everything you can possible to turn things around for the better for you and your family. Thank you for being a good guest. These are the families that we're serving. Homelessness is very invisible. It's very humiliating. And the best thing that we can do is give them a little bit of peace, a little bit of respite from the storm. Again, that is what Family Promise is. That is what we're trying to do. And I always kind of laugh too. It's the main thing. What does this all kind of boil down to? So the fact, so sometimes I always kind of stop myself after I kind of like touch base and think, all right, so we are a 24-hour traveling homeless shelter staffed by volunteers. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of energy, but it comes together. And it's wonderful to see how good folks and from the churches and the volunteers and the guest families themselves, it all comes together. It's a very intimate and personal interaction too, type of volunteer experience. This isn't just basically you going to a soup kitchen and doing the soup line. This is you basically making the meal, sitting down, and interacting with the families, playing with the kids in the program, getting to know a little bit about them, getting to know just a little bit, a glimpse into a lot of the horror that they've been experiencing, the crisis that they've been experiencing. So, and again, this all boils down to why do we do this? Because there are children in need. And the best thing that we can do is give them the stability of shelter and to give them the stability of getting them back into housing. So more than just shelter, we also offer we do really intensive case management. Again, from day one, we start our case plan to try to get them back into a place. We do really intensive case management. We also have a housing program as well, 5 units of housing, affordable housing. It's a drop in the bucket for the affordable housing here in Salt Lake County, but that's what we have to offer. But then we also do rapid rehousing to basically say, let's just pay for cash and rent and deposit and get into a place as soon as possible. Basically, we need to return that stability of a home. Home represents so much stability. And when you don't have a home, everything is turned upside down. Everything is 10 times hard. It's difficult. You can start getting depression. Just having a place to do clean clothes, to keep your food, to keep your medication, to get a good night's sleep. When you don't have a home of your own, everything is difficult. And so that's what we try to bring them in, give them that peace and comfort and that stability and shelter. But then as wonderful and beautiful and loving as a shelter as we are, we want to get them out of our shelter and into housing as soon as possible. Plus, we're the only program that does 2 years of aftercare. Other shelters basically will help with families and basically say, okay, here's the keys, you're in your place, take care, hopefully you don't have to come back to the shelter. I always say it was a long journey that got them into homelessness. It's going to take a long journey to get them out. The least that we can do is be in touch with them for the next 2 years just to make sure that they don't. And if they do stumble, then we're there for them. The families that we see, this basically, there's always that you hear that saying that you just want to take a check away from homelessness. That's true. But the families that we have, they're one paycheck away, but then they don't have supports, resources like maybe you or I do. A friend, a family member, a church member to call up and say, can I borrow some money to pay rent to get you through this month? They don't have anyone in their life like that. So I always say, let Family Promise, let the volunteers be that support for you. So from now, so that's a little bit about Family Promise. I'm going to stick around and marry coffee after if there's any more detailed questions, but I want to just make sure that you guys have an understanding of what we do. But again, I can't stress enough just that we wouldn't be able to do this important work without the partnerships of congregations like yours. So again, a huge thank you for making this amazing work possible, so thank you so much. So basically from now to June, we're going to be planning and organizing for the guest families to arrive, which include, we're going to go over things about supplies, the supplies that we need. We'll be making sure that we're not going to be interrupting anything on the church calendar, the church schedule, the activities. The space is pretty much ready to go. You guys have plenty of wonderful space, including showers already. Some of our churches have had to remodel their space to put in showers. You guys already have some. There's basic remodeling or just modifications that need to be done, but nothing big, nothing extensive. We're not going to be affecting the budget whatsoever with the church here. Family Promise has volunteers and resources, but then basically we'll be doing volunteer training for the volunteers as well. Plus we're going to be partnering with other congregations too, because again, we're interfaith, and so we'd love to kind of have St. Stephen's be kind of a drawing magnet for the different community here in West Valley. Bring in LDS, bring in maybe Granger community, church. Some of those other churches to basically say, hey, look, St. Stephen's is doing this amazing interfaith service project for homeless. Would you guys be interested to kind of help and lend some volunteer support? So we basically will have plenty of volunteers. Plus, we even have additional volunteers and resources for projects like fixing up the hosting space, but even additional space that the families will benefit from, such as like the gazebo or the playground, kind of something that can kind of spruce everything up a little bit when the Family Promise program comes. In fact, speaking about volunteers, I was actually just talking to one of the churches that's going to be hosting during Thanksgiving, November 21st through 29th. It's not too far away from here. It's Trinity Methodist, which is on 40th West and 5400 South. They actually are in need of volunteers. And so I said, I'm going to be speaking to St. Stephen's. I'm going to offer it to you, especially because it's all brand new to you guys. If you want to see the program in action, come find me after service, and I can put you down as a volunteer and do some training and have you go see the program in action, meet the families, and kind of get a glimpse of what it's going to be like when it comes here to St. Stephen's. So the one other thing too I want to say, again, the best thing that I really like about when we're going to be coming here at St. Stephen's is that, so I was kind of getting the tour from Mary of where we're going to be and everything, and the rooms that we're going to be using. So we're going to be using the rooms back there in the old sanctuary. My eyes lit up. I was like, this is the old sanctuary. And so I love the fact that, because sometimes I always make that analogy too, is that churches are sanctuaries, especially for homeless families coming into the doors, are receiving sanctuary. And so I love it too, because we're going to be in the rooms, in the actual old sanctuary, receiving sanctuary. So I really love that. I want to touch upon just a little bit about, so since it is All Saints Day, I just want to kind of hold up a few saints that I admire. So just a reminder too, so All Saints Day is a time to remember saints, known or unknown, who are holy people who lived extraordinary lives, each responding to God's invitation to use their gift. However, we must not forget that God calls all of us to be saints, basically as echoing what Pastor Mary just said earlier. So the ones I admire, of course, are St. Vincent, known for his charity, St. Benedict, known for his service to the homeless, Mother Teresa, for her never-ending compassion, and then also St. Michael, known for his hospitality when to visiting pilgrims and travelers in the street. So he's the patron saint of Michael, patron saint of hospitality. So what I want to kind of touch upon is to kind of break things back together and say how, however, these attributes that you guys will be extending to the Family Promise guest families, more than just offering food, more than just offering shelter, more than offering just a warm bed, you will be giving them just these things of the attributes of the saints did. Charity, compassion, hospitality. And for that, I thank you. And for that, I recognize the saints in you for giving such service. And I'd like to actually bring up special guests, two special guests, Nora and Jasmine, please come on. So Nora and Jasmine are good friends, but they're also former guests of Family Promise. And I am very humbled by the fact that they took my invitation to actually come and share a little bit about their experience and what it was like being in their situation and going through the Family Promise program. So I'll turn the time over to them. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Yes, I was a guest from Family Promise, and I was so happy to be in that program. Well, it was a very hard time for me to be as homeless and scary, being in the street with my daughter and my mom. Scary knows that I'm going to be in a place with people that, who knows, they're drug addict or a bunch of men who knows what they can do to my baby. But when I found out about Family Promise, I was more safe knowing that I was going to be in church. I know that I was going to be safe because I was going to be with 4 families, with kids, and I know that I was going to be protected. So I think this is a very great program for families who are getting into a really bad process, and I really appreciate Tony and the people who really help to family who's going through this process. And I really appreciate all the family who really helped me My mom is not with me anymore. She passed away a month ago. It was really hard for us to lose our apartment. They helped me for 4 months, and now we've been in our apartment for 5 years already. And they're being supporting me till this moment. The only work would be to process for my mom passed away. So he's family partners been with us for 5 years, not 3 years, 5 years. So they're a really good program, and I hope you guys can help and support this family and actually the kids. They don't need to be in the streets. They really need you guys' help because